Our 7-acre farm is located on the Cassowary coast, in the wet tropics of far north Queensland, Australia, where the rainforest meets the reef. We grow commercial crops of tropical fruit, jackfruit and canister, and also use our spare land to fulfill our dream of becoming more self-sufficient. We feel incredibly lucky to be living in this beautiful part of the world, and in our weekly videos we share with you our slice of paradise and our life on the farm. Hi everyone, this week on the farm I haven't done an awful lot because I've been at work all week, but Ian has been very busy. Some of you are going to be very sad about this, but Ian has been very busy taking out the durian. So, still got a few more trees to take out, but we have left the ones that have got fruit on. But all of these now need chipping, so I've come down. It's the weekend now, it's Saturday, so I'm not at work. I've come down to help him chip these, get them out the way so that then we can tackle the trunks. So that's the plan. And the chippings obviously will go back onto the trellises in anticipation of planting out jackfruit seedlings for grafting later on. And the trunks we're going to use in some garden beds up by the house so that we've got more garden beds for growing veggies. So this durian tree is one that we'll leave in for now. This is one of our grafted trees, so this is quite exciting. It's not a seedling and it has got probably the most fruit on it. The other ones that we've left in have only sort of got one or two, but this one has got, you can see there, and a few up there, and a couple in there. That's pretty cool. We'll see what they're like. So we'll leave this tree in for now so we can harvest these durians. So whilst I know that a lot of you are traumatized by the fact that we are removing these durian, Ian has done a short video on why it's just not possible for us to keep going with them, and especially on the trellising.
G'day folks, welcome back to Meadowcroft Farm. This week is the week that we are going to take out our durian trees that are on the trellising. Now, we've had a lot of questions. Why are you taking out sort of mature trees? Why don't you just take out so many so that there's more spaced out? So what I want to do is try and explain the rationale why we've taken them out and we're replanting, or we have replanted freestanding trees. So any tree that you plant, doesn't matter, durian, whatever it is, will grow when it's young, and the branches, while it's young, will be upright like that. The reason being, because they are not completely vertical, but they've an upright structure to the tree, is that the blazing sun doesn't shine directly down. For instance, if you're out in a bright sunny paddock, you lay your tools down on the ground flat. When you go to pick them up after 10 minutes, they will be red hot, as opposed to if you leave them upright, you'll be able to pick them up, and because that surface area is not absorbing all of the heat from the sun. So when your little tree grows and gets more mature, what you will find is that if you, let's say, have got a 5-metre tree, for instance, or bigger, those lower branches, as they've got longer and longer, slowly pull down to a horizontal position. Now in a freestanding tree, this is not a problem, because the branches at the top of the tree stay at that slight incline, more vertical, so they aren't getting burnt by the sun, but those branches and all the foliage on those branches are protecting the lower branches. So the lower branches can be horizontal, but they are shaded. Man, I'm only sitting here and I'm sweating. It's stinky hot. So, in terms of the trellis trees, the idea with the trellis trees, let's say you have your wires, is to grow your tree up, and each one of these wires has a horizontal branch like that, and then you leave what's referred to as the rudder of the tree. So you leave one single vertical apical dominant leader, and that would be referred to as the rudder of the tree, and these are all your horizontal branches. Now, well away from the equator, with the likes of apples and things like that, not a problem, because the sun isn't that intense. But if you look at this, with one vertical leader, there's no protection here on these branches, which is why these branches end up, because they're horizontal, because they're completely exposed to the direct sunlight, really intense sunlight, end up dying. This isn't just with durians, this is with, I've seen it happen, soursop, growing soursop horizontal, and half the branches end up dying, and they're left with a 4-metre tree with 2 side branches on it instead of like 10 or 12. In order to try and protect itself, these top branches will send off suckers, vertical, to try and protect it. So to manage them, you've got a lot of pruning, you've got a lot of painting to try and protect them. If you want to paint them white in the hope that they won't die, it might work, it quite often doesn't work. So we've given up on this method. It's not just with the durians, with everything. Now, in terms of why don't you just thin out some of the trees and leave them on the trellis? Well, if you think of the trellising, the trees then are grown up the trellising at an angle, and this angle is around the 35-degree mark. So we would then be letting a tree grow in its natural state and get into, I don't know, 4, 5 metres, 6 metres tall, already leaning over. And durian trees are notorious for getting knocked over in strong winds. The root system is not the bee's knees. It's not a brilliant root system. So they're notorious for getting knocked over. Also, as I've shown in other videos, the posts rot. So they're not getting any support from the trellising anyway. None of it makes sense. The only thing for us that makes any sense is that we take out the trees off the trellising, as frustrating as it is, but there's no point in persevering. A couple of the trees that we put on that trellis were grafted, and some were seedlings, but one of those seedlings is really good. So we've grafted 6 trees, 2 off each of those 3 trees. They'll be grown in a more upright manner. We won't let them get excessively big, but they will be growing like a proper tree, and we're taking the others out. When we look at that trellis, because of the weather and because where we are is right on the edge of where you might get away with growing durian, it's still hit and miss. You're not guaranteed a crop every year. You're not guaranteed that the crop will be any good if you do get it, if you have the bad weather, inclement weather. So there's no point. There's no point in growing something where you might get a crop every 2, 3 years, 4 years. We would be better off planting it with something that produces consistently every year. Take the jackfruit. We plant that row up with jackfruit. We will grow jackfruit every year, which we will harvest every year. And the trees that we put on that row, there'll be freestanding trees, they won't be trellised. There'll be freestanding trees grown in the vase shape. What we harvest will buy us as many durians as we want to eat, and we will still be left with money left over. In fact, we could probably buy imported durian. You can get imported durian now. It's chilled, it's taken out of the fruit, it's in a punnet. You can get known really good quality durians imported from Thailand, Malaysia. Indonesia's come a long way. Philippines are producing durians now. And in fact, talking to an Asian agent a couple of 3 years ago, and he was like not interested in necessarily Australian durian because the quality wasn't necessarily there. They're all the seedlings predominantly. The 2 or 3 varieties that people have in Australia are quite old varieties, and durians have come a long way in the last 15-20 years in terms of what's grown abroad. Your Musang King, your Blackthorn, all these different ones, Red Prawn. They've come a long way, and we don't have any of those varieties here in Australia. Nobody's doing any work or hasn't done any work in cross-pollinating and growing trees to see if there's anything good that comes out of it. There isn't enough people that can successfully propagate them. So even if you did crossbreed and plant something, then it's got to be propagated, and yeah, there just isn't the facilities.
So we finished all the chipping this morning, and look at all of this beautiful mulch. This is just one pile of many of all of this beautiful mulch. It was definitely well worth chipping down, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
Than just throwing branches back into the interrows, because now we've got all of this.
It'll break down way quicker.
Yeah, and do you know what I'm thinking?
What?
This would be amazing on my new garden beds.
Hang on a second. This is trees. They go on my seedling tree, on my young grafted trees out there, and on my seedlings.
But I need mulch for my garden beds.
I need mulch for my garden beds.
You wouldn't miss one pile. What if gremlins came in overnight and stole it? You wouldn't even know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've just counted how many there is. Alright folks, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed watching this video, and we really appreciate it if you could share it out, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks folks, bye.